What's happening with you, man? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Network 27. I'm sorry that you all had to see a lot of reruns over and over again. We were trying to get set up, and also the people who does the filming of the show moved, so we had to reestablish things. But look at this. Welcome to our new office, which is located at 4 Northwestern. This is a great way to start the show off for the New Year's. Today I have with me a guest by the name of Mr. Quinlan, right?
Yes.
Mr. Quinlan is with the Near West Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
We're going to talk about what's happening over here on Madison and Western, where we just moved our office. As some of you may know, that we have, my dad used to work in the same location before I was born, and my mom lived around the corner, and they met each other here. It used to be Steinway Drugstore. They met each other at this location. So this is like coming home for me. My father, Walter Burnett Sr., died a month before I was elected to office. So we're dedicating this office to him. And it looks like we're going to be doing a lot of these shows now, not in the studio, maybe here or maybe outside or maybe on site to some of the people that we're going to be interviewing. So please bear with us. This is our first time doing this. So we're trying to work out, get comfortable with this and work everything out. I hope everybody had a happy new year. 2015 is going to be a great year. A lot of great things is happening on the Near West Side. And I'm going to allow Mr. Quinlan to introduce himself, and then we can start talking about what's going on over here. Thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Quinlan. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Mike Quinlan. I'm with the Near West Side Chamber of Commerce. I have a background in architecture and planning. Particularly, I have a passion for improving neighborhoods and community districts areas. Prior to moving to Chicago, I worked for the International Downtown Association, which was kind of a think tank of best practices to address the issues that we try to address with the chamber. So best practices on cleaning, safety, beautification of a neighborhood, and really organizing and working with businesses. It helped influence previously to forming the Chamber of Commerce.
Fantastic. So Mike, where do you live?
So I live down the street, essentially.
So you live in the Near West Side?
Yes, about 3 blocks from the office.
Okay, fantastic. So Mike, why don't you tell us about the Near West Chamber of Commerce? How did it evolve to become the Near West Chamber of Commerce?
Sure. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. So there used to be a Chamber of Commerce in the neighborhood up until about 2005, and it was called the Madison Western Chamber of Commerce. And but after about 2005, it kind of lost its momentum. And then separate from that, there's another organization called the Near West Side Community Development Corporation that had just completed its quality of life plan for the neighborhood.
And that was funded by LISC?
Yes, LISC Chicago helped fund that, and we helped facilitate it among forming committees and organizing among the neighborhood residents. And they formed about 5 committees, and there are 5 key pieces of the quality of life plan. So looking to increase jobs, youth activities, housing, and the key piece for this conversation would be the retail and economic development piece. So through that quality of life plan, which was completed just when, about 2007, they wrote a separate grant for the Madison Retail Revitalization Initiative, is what it was called. So they wrote a grant. It was successful through the Partnership for New Communities, which was kind of a temporary agency to help particularly neighborhoods surrounded by the Plan for Transformation. So they found funding to hire a retail program manager, and I just moved in from DC at that time, and so it worked out really well. So they brought me in to help basically be a booster for economic development in the neighborhood, and then as things grew on, we realized there was enough interest, to form a chamber for the neighborhood, and so we reached out to what used to be the former, the existing officers that were still, officers for the Madison Western Chamber of Commerce.
So there was an existing chamber already.
Right, but it was kind of defunct.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached out to them, and they signed over the paperwork and became part of the chamber. And so kind of so it's kind of one part, yes, the EIN number, but also very new because of how it came to be.
So you became the Near West Chamber of Commerce.
So through that process, we became the Near West Chamber of Commerce, and so it was kind of a unique origin for a chamber, because typically you think of a chamber, traditionally it's called businesses. They get together, they organize separately, and this was more of a grassroots community driven, going up to form a chamber instead of a couple local businesses organizing separately, and that's the origin story for the new Near West Side Chamber of Commerce.
Fantastic.
And it's been about 2009.
So tell me this, Mike. What are your boundaries?
Sure. So our focus area has always been Ashland to the east, west of Western. For those locally who know the train tracks, but it's essentially Tallman, Lake to the north, and Van Buren to the south. It's always traditionally been our focus area, but we do outreach along Western Avenue, particularly south where there's more retailers, down to Taylor.
Oh, you go down to Taylor?
Yeah, we've gone down to Taylor, and a little bit north, particularly on Western Avenue, and then
north to what?
Grand. So
Up to Grand.
up to Grand.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly north of Lake would be the focus, primarily on retailers,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a great, ICNC is very good at
The industrial.
the industrial end.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you, so that's great. So you have a lot of businesses involved,
Mm-hmm.
and you all try to enhance businesses.
Yes.
So tell me some of the things that's going on in this area, and what the chamber have going on.
Sure. One of the great things about this neighborhood is just how much there's always just constant change in this neighborhood. Something's always happening, and so one thing that comes to mind is the streetscape plan along Western Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
The first phase was completed from Van Buren to Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
and the city is now looking to make public the second piece.
Yeah.
From Monroe to Lake Avenue.
Yeah, I have a copy of that right here.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we were, as a chamber, we're really glad to help. CDOT reached out to us to kind of get a sense of what was working, what was not, and for the most part, I remember the public meeting for the first phase, and I was like, "This is great. Let's do it tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
And we're really grateful. They worked with us on community identifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're really grateful for. So they had originally had some community identifiers. It's have a template of, it's like the Sears Tower. They weren't really sure what to put, and but they worked with us, and then that actually the building that we're in right now, the West Town Bank building,
Mm-hmm.
is part of the community identifier. So they incorporated instead of the Sears Tower, they were, through meeting with us, they incorporated a local building. And kind of, our community name, which is West Haven, and also kind of through our quality of life planning process, rising like a phoenix. So the community identifiers are beautiful. And
So what are the so right now this new plan is going from Monroe to
Lake Avenue,
Lake
or Lake Street.
Lake
Yes.
Street.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say identifiers, you're speaking in terms of
So
the banners and
along the new street poles are these permanent fixtures. They're like banners, but they're permanent. They're these powder-coated steel pieces. There's a diagram on one of those photos that kind of shows the continuing on. So it uses some of the very similar colors to the Near West Chamber as well. The red and gold and orange of our colors are incorporated into the community identifier as well.
Mm-hmm. So some of the things that they're looking to do there is, from what I understand, and a lot of these things, because I took over some of these areas I took over this area through the remap. So you all started all of this, and the alderman before me started this stuff with you all.
Yes.
So it's been handed off to me, and we're going to continue to move it on and take it to the finish line.
Yes.
So some of the things that I see here is that there's going to be some grates and
Yeah, a lot of the pieces that any neighborhood would want, along
new
the
light
street.
poles,
New light poles, new lighting, new curb cuts.
curb cuts. They're talking about putting some. So these are the identifiers, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Benches.
Benches, and they're talking about putting some green space
Yes.
on some of the streets.
Yeah. New greenscaping might be the word.
Greenscaping,
I don't know if I'm making that up, but it sounds right.
right?
And I don't know if it's in this phase.
Yeah. So
but
some
in the second
grates,
phase,
some grates for trees, and I think some little green area on the parkways. Right. Making because there's no greenery on.
in the medians in the first phase, there were some. They put in some really nice flower beds. And it looks great.
Okay. Some bump outs. So a bunch of nice things. So you all pretty much you all planned all this already. They're just finishing the second phase.
Right.
So they kind of have a strong template to work off of.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the identifier, the community identifier.
So so I think this is great. So Western Avenue basically between Van Buren and Lake is getting a lot of money from the city to enhance it. A lot of new businesses are coming on Western Avenue. Why don't you tell me of some of the businesses that have started coming over here?
Sure. Yeah, when we first formed the chamber, there were essentially two businesses at this intersection. There was Chicago Pawners, and then Walgreens across the street, which the Community Development Corporation helped build. And since then, it's been great watching all of them populate. I remember the first one to come out was Shumi on Western Avenue, and that's been an anchor tenant.
That's a clothing store?
Yeah, well, primarily her true focus and passion, Nefertari Moore, is she's the owner of the store. Her focus is almost strictly on shoes.
Shoes, okay.
Yes.
Shoe me.
Shumi. So it's
Women's shoes?
women's shoes.
Right.
It's bright pink. The seats are shoes, and since then, one by one, we've seen everyone filled in. So one of the things, as we started as the retail initiative, one of the things, the concerns was commercial vacancy rates, which have since the vacancy rates have decreased because the space has been filling in, but it was almost completely vacant around 2009, and we're at about 60 to maybe 70% occupied, which is a big deal.
Fantastic.
Because a little bit of history. So this neighborhood, back in 2005, 2006, when the real estate market was hot, this was kind of that final push in this neighborhood during that time. And so all of these commercial spaces were built, particularly because the residential condos were hot above. So developers would build these thinking they could, sell the condos at a good price, but then the real estate market flipped, and because of that, the commercial spaces had some difficulty, leasing in. But since then, we've actually, through that period where other neighborhoods were struggling, we were really getting our first tenants, for the area, and the result it's been more. It's like a new wave of mom and pop. Where you get entrepreneurs, first-time business owners, moving into the neighborhood for the first time. So if you'll notice a lot of these businesses, really husband and wife, either they have a passion for a certain one thing or another, and they're kind of the first-time owners in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I know we have phone companies here, but we also have a big development that's going on right now. Probably since this show will be showing in January, it will be open. We probably have a ribbon cutting in January. So we're talking about, we have a Pete's Market across the street.
Mm-hmm.
I know the community, and I wasn't involved with that, and I can't take the credit of the initiation of Pete's, because that happened before me. But since I've been here, we've been working on it and keeping it flowing. And from what I understand, at the Pete's Market location, they have several other businesses that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chase. Do you know of all the businesses coming in over there?
Officially, the two that I know of would be Chase and Domino's.
Chase and Domino's.
With I believe 3 more spots available. I've heard some rumors, but I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
speculate.
Trying to think of the other one that I know of. I think of Chase or Domino's. Can't remember.
I thought I heard a dry cleaner, but
A dry
I
cleaner.
wouldn't want to say that with,
Yeah, and they have
with any
about
confidence.
200 parking spaces over
Mhm.
there, from what I understand. But I think they're right now concerned about parking for the employees too, because they're looking at between all of the businesses there. We're talking about a number of new jobs coming to the community,
Yes.
which is very exciting. We look to have some job fairs. Matter of fact, I think tomorrow we have them. Well, this is December right now that we're taping, but Domino's is having one here tomorrow in our office, so folks can get some jobs there. And then we're working with Pete's, so when they get ready to open up in the future. So I think this is exciting for the community, a lot of good job opportunities. People always say, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do retail come first or do residential come first?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in this case, in this community, they kind of came at the same time.
Right.
They coming at the same time. And I think, with the city, and the mayor pegging this area as one of his pet projects to push development on the New West Side. So he's pushing a lot of a lot of public money over here. For instance, we got the new Bulls Training Center that's underway right now. You have Malcolm X coming up, and there's also talk about a new L stop at the for which we're working on and trying to make sure people from the community work on that L stop. On the Damon L stop, they're going to redo. And I think with the mayor putting his money where his mouth is, and folks seeing that the city and government and the United Center is putting a big investment over here, a lot of people are starting to get interested. And I think also, Mike, I don't know if you know this, but Google is opening up east of here. And a lot of people have been coming to me trying to move within radius sites of Google. And it's either they want to live in the area close to Google or they want to have their businesses in the area.
Yeah, I think what we might be seeing is, I think I mentioned there was a bit of a stall in the real estate market, and this area was starting to grow then, and I think we're starting to see some signs of that continue, in kind of the regrowth of the economic situation. I don't know, I can't emphasize enough what a big deal it is to have that grocery store built. It means so much to everybody in the neighborhood. For some people, I know it's like a validation, like finally, we don't need to get on a bus to pick up some groceries, because our neighborhood up until when Pizza's going to open was the quintessential food desert.
Right.
You could look at a map at Madison and Western, and they could chain in a circle, almost equidistance, the grocery stores, that were available for our residents. It was a big deal. It's always been a big deal, and on the job front, it's huge, and just for quality of life, it's a really big deal. And our neighborhood is unique in terms of on this side of Ashland, there's as huge as these developments are, we have so much land that's still available for growth. You're running out of lots once you go east of Ashland, but this side of the United Center, we don't have the density that you find in other neighborhoods. I mentioned I live in the area as well, and you can live in the same street as Sears Tower, and you can park right in front of the house anytime you want. and we might be the first 2 blocks before it gets hard to park anywhere closer to the city.
So I live in the neighborhood too.
Yes.
Yeah, right by the United Center. So yeah, we had to make some restrictions for residents to be able to park in the area.
Right. Yeah. And it's thrilling to see just these massive developments. What Malcolm X is doing. I mean, that building. The footprint. It's going to be an elite building. The architecture firm that's doing it. Actually, I used to work for as well. Beautiful building, and the continuation of United Center with the Prentice facility. Pete's. It's just the latest of developments that are happening. It's incredible. Damon, the Damon stop, the streetscape. These are all just the latest and greatest of things that have been happening in the neighborhood. Last year, 2 years ago, we had Johnny's Ice House in the east. That was built a couple of years before. Where these major, these 10 to 30 unit condo buildings that were built on vacant space. Essentially, along Madison, along Western, we have economic studies, of the neighborhood, and one of the things, so they look at median income and they look at density, and one of the things that's always been kind of the knock, for potential businesses, to recruit would be the density.
Yeah, they look at the demographics of the density and the income.
Yes. Yes, and we're starting to get more people in the neighborhood.
Definitely, and I know that I also see that with other developers coming to the table. Since I've taken over this area, I've had several developers come to see me to want to build in the area. We just did a zoning change for development just past Western, 6-unit, 2 duplexes. Condominium building, market rate, and you would be like, wow, they going past Western with condos again, market rate. And this is a developer that I've worked with in the West Loop area. So you got West Loop developers coming west of Ashland and actually going west of Western now, and to me that says a lot. And I have another developer. Just came to see me and just said he just said I want to do development on the near west side.
Yeah.
He said I don't have anything specific, but I'm just telling you I want to start buying up things and developing over here because I see the market coming. Yeah. And so he's talking general right now, nothing specific, but he wants to come and talk to the community about just building in the community. He wants to buy up properties in the area. So people starting to buy up properties in the area and start developing. And he's talking about nice houses in the community. And I think that's going to help more with the demographics. But but over here, I think we got a unique thing because retailers can't look at our demographics just with the people who live here. You have to look at the demographics now of the people that's working here. North of Lake Street, you have all these industrial businesses. All of them have a lot of employees. Malcolm X, tons of employees. With them expanding the school, more employees. United Center with the new training center, there's going to be more employees over in the community. More people going to the United Center. Even right now, as they do the construction in the area, you have a large amount of people working here who need to eat, shop, all those things here in the community. So I think businesses and developers are starting to see that momentum coming over here. And we're just just north of the medical district, which has the largest amount of employees in the state in the medical district. And they like to veer off to go to places to shop and to eat. So they go to Taylor Street right now. Now they're going to the West Loop area. Well, sooner, and some of them come here. I mean, we have the world famous, Chicago famous Moon's Restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get people from the medical district coming over there, which tells me there's room for many other restaurants to open up in this area. So I see a lot of great things happening over here. I feel it coming. I see Madison Street, you know, with these streetscapes happening and other plans that's being proposed. I see Madison Street just doing a major change and shift and continue to go that way that it was starting to go. But I think this time it's going to go even with more thrust and fire.
And especially with a grocery store, I think people are going to realize, hey, we can also live here. We don't need to drive out much further to be working at the medical center or to be working at ICNC. Also in the quality of life of the neighborhood, just wholly increases, and it's fun to speculate. What are the next steps? We've been working so hard in the neighborhood, waiting for the moment for this grocery store to open up, and I get a lot of questions. When's it opening? When's it opening? When's the grand ribbon? So once we get the date, let me know, because I know a lot of people.
Oh, definitely, we're gonna let you. I mean, well, you all
want to be there.
You all are the ones who got this thing started. I'm just carrying the ball.
So everybody's thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I know you all had there was a lot of things going on with the grocery store, because there was several grocery stores trying to come over here.
Sure.
And you all finally decided on the Pete's. I think what it was at Aldi's.
It was Food for Less.
Food for Less.
And Jewel Osco.
Okay.
Were candidates, and bottom line, everybody wanted a grocery store, and everyone's just thrilled that we have one opening up in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I know my wife is excited. You know, like I said, we don't live too far from here.
So I can walk to one.
Yeah, my wife is very excited about it. So she'd probably be the best customer over there, which is very good. Now, I know that a couple of things done happen over here with the schools too. Mm-hmm. I think they just been my audience have just seen several reruns of Crane and Brown School that have been shown on the show. But that Crane School, I think a lot more people are going to move to the neighborhood just so their kids can go to Crane.
Oh, wonderful.
Because they have this medical school now. Uh-huh. They're connected with Malcolm X, Rush Hospital, and University of Illinois Hospital. So I think a lot of people are going to move to the area. And then Brown School is connected to Crane. So they kind of posturing or getting the kids ready to go into the medical field. They starting them out at the grammar school to get them go to the high school. But also I think we had to change with the school closures, and they bringing the schools together. They move debt in with. Dead is now with Tui Herbert.
On the school front, I'm less familiar.
You're less familiar?
I know from personal experience, I was in the very beginning with the Crane High School. I was able, when you helped organize to help with that.
The other organization that you work with, the Near West Community Development Organization, yes. Mr. Gates, because Near West Chamber of Commerce and Near West Community Development Organization, you all in the same house,
yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so, Mr. Gates, Ernest Gates, worked very closely with me in getting Crane, because they were talking about closing Crane. The community was concerned about it. We negotiated on a deal with the board to allow for the community to work on putting a pre-medical school in Crane High School and allow for residents from the community with community preference to be able to go to that school. Although people from the community have to meet the threshold to get in there. But so we worked very hard on that, and Ernest was very involved. But I think that having good schools help with all the economics.
Yes.
Because sometimes people move to the schools. I guarantee you, over by Whitney Young, my son goes to Whitney Young. He have friends who go to Whitney Young. Their parents move to the area. They live on Jackson Street. they moved there just because their kids go to Whitney Young. You know, they want to be closer to the schools. And I think that's what's getting ready to start happening over here. People are going to move over here, not just to go to Whitney Young, they're going to move here, go to Crane, they're going to move here to go to Brown, and they're going to move here to go to the Montessori school that's opening up over here. They're going to move here to go to Malcolm X. And I think, and we're looking at putting another selective enrollment high school in the area. I think they're going to move here to go there. But also, they just expanded. I don't know if you heard that they expanded Phoenix High School.
A little bit overheard something. But
Okay, the military high school moved. They had a Army and they had Marines.
The Marine.
So I think the Marines is moving to another building.
Okay.
So it's going to make the Army part have more room for more children,
Okay.
which is another plus for the community, because some of those kids' parents may move to the area.
Yeah.
So which is great. So what do you hear about what's going on with the rest of the Henry Horner development?
So Henry Horner development. So that's like the super block within the West Haven Park area. That's a piece that on the CDC side they focus more on.
Yeah, the other part. Yeah.
So the Nearby Side Community Development Corporation,
Right.
Assists with some residents, in terms of finding employment and self betterment. But it's a piece I'm not as familiar with. I know there's better people that can speak of it.
You deal more with the businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Or
happening.
or the residents as a whole. I don't. But that's a particular.
You deal with the
block.
more developments and businesses.
Yes.
So tell me, how many businesses are in the chamber?
We have about 50 in the neighborhood as a whole, and then about 25 that are active. But any one of them, we could call up and meet.
How often do you all meet?
We're gonna relaunch in January, I believe. We used to be monthly, and then we stopped having regular meetings. But we're gonna start that up in 2014.
And you all work very closely with the police also.
Yes.
And how's your relationship with that?
Oh, it's been great.
And how's the crime been in the area?
Crime, it's every year you see these incremental decreases, and positive signs. Even at this intersection, there's always been, it's moved. It used to be this one area, and then it's been fading out. You can kind of consistently see the footprint of, the negative impact, and there's one final foothold that I think is going to go away pretty soon.
Oh, Adams, Jackson.
Oh, okay, 2.
So this is what I always say. People who are disrupting the neighborhood think that they're invisible, right? Because people don't say anything.
Yeah.
People, mind their own business and ignore what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think when you start getting masses of people coming to the area, and it gets busy and a whole bunch of people keep coming through the area, walking around,
Absolutely.
doing all this stuff, then they start feeling not invisible anymore.
Yeah.
And so they want to go somewhere else,
Yes.
and hide. And do they consider thinking that they're doing their stuff in the dark? And I think with the new stores, with the new businesses that's coming to the community, with the new people that's moving in the area, more people walking up and down the street, more people jogging. You have people jogging up and down Western Madison Street, Warren, Washington Street. You see them jogging early in the morning because I'm a jogger.
Yeah.
All nationalities that have moved to the area that feel comfortable. When they start seeing a lot of people coming around, people don't want to do that negative stuff in front of everybody. So I think, the more people come out their houses, shop in the community, veer out into the neighborhood, the better it is for all of us.
The more eyes on the street, the better.
The more eyes on the street, the better.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're seeing, these development pieces, truly matter. The streetscaping, the better the environment, the better it elevates, how people behave in the neighborhood. I'm always, of the belief, like, there's that. I read the book a while ago, but fixing broken windows. If you change the environment, you help change, how people behave in it. Removing graffiti, removing the things that people think are, this is an area where you can neglect, or this is in an area where people, negative. If you remove the negative impact of some of those pieces, it increases the positive sides. And we've seen that over and over again.
Yeah, so it's getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
More people move in.
Yes.
Less people hang out on the blocks.
Right.
Less people you have on the block. You have all vacancies on the block. You're gonna have a lot of negative stuff on the block.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to continue to encourage people to move to the area.
Yes.
Let them know how exciting this community is and how people are engaged. I know a number of people in the community have been getting involved with gardens. Got a garden. Can't remember which street that is. It's on the street that you all are on. Your office on.
Yeah, we have 3 community groups separately who have built community gardens,
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really neat to watch. There's the Jelly Bean Garden. It's
Right.
on Adams and
That's
Hamilton.
the one I worked on, right?
There's the Wilma Ward Garden.
Right.
With the CDC helped build.
On Hoyne and Madison.
And Hoyne and Madison,
which is beautiful.
across from the library.
Right.
And then some folks at the West Haven Park. I keep on saying development, but I think they prefer West Haven Park. Built a vegetable garden as well.
Where is that?
I believe it's either in Washington or Warren.
On Washington.
Probably
right.
Washington.
Yeah. I was with them when they did that, and then they put the. Pretty sure Michael helped to fund that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they put the blocks and lights up there. It's real beautiful.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it turned out great. So
Yeah.
I think and it was pretty innovative. I think they were waiting for the market to turn around, to build there. But in the meantime, they built the garden there.
Yeah, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you got those things happening. I don't know if you know that Star Park on Hoyne and Washington is getting ready to be redeveloped. Right now, as we talk, they're working on
Ellen Gates Star Park?
is Ellen Gay Star Park.
Okay. Oakley?
Oakley,
Okay.
Oakley, right. Oakley and Washington.
Yeah.
It's getting ready to be redeveloped.
I didn't know that.
Yep, we working on that. We got some money to do that.
Great.
And as you know, they're doing the park right now over on Jackson and Campbell, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's going on. They don't have a name for that park yet.
Mm-hmm.
It just has a number, or is it Jackson and Rockwell? I don't know. Right there by the train tracks.
Yes.
On Jackson Street. So that's being worked on right now as we talk, and that's going to be a nice park.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's going to be pretty big too. So there's some amenities happening over here. And some of the people actually from Johnny's Ice House had come to talk to me, and I haven't spoken to you all about it yet. They just mentioned it to me in passing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they want to do something else across the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think they want to, I don't know if they want to do another ice house or what they want to do. But I do know that they're aggressively trying to get more young people here in the community involved in ice skating.
Oh, great.
They want to teach more kids how to ice skate,
Okay.
and play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So which is a great thing. So they're looking to invest more in the community, which I think is fantastic. And so we have major athletes from the Blackhawks
Mm-hmm.
coming to our community every day. We're going to have major athletes from the Bulls coming to our community every day. You may even have, when you have these practice centers, sometimes the opposing teams practice in the community also. So when I look at that, I think about the potential of them going to shop, eat, all those things. even maybe wanting to stay in the hotels close to us. Hopefully that we may start getting some more hotels coming to the area. I know Crown Plaza on Madison is building up and is going to do another building, but I think we hopefully when we start seeing some hotels coming west of Ashland, then you're going to know it's happening. But we had a potential to do that. I know also on Ashland and Madison, there's a developer looking at doing something with a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're looking to do something, and they're talking about restaurants with residential up top. They're just trying to trade some property with the city and with the current parking lot owners. So I think some of these parking lots are starting to feel like they can cash out again.
Yeah.
You know, because we have a lot of things, and this is what I see in a lot of neighborhoods, Mike, and you probably see this too. When there's no real economic development going on in the community, anyone rents the property, because one, the property value is low. So you get a lot of just drugstores, a lot of things that we have all over the west side. When the property value go up, you start seeing different businesses coming in, with more amenities for the community. And I think that's what's starting to happen. You're starting to see less of the vacancies being taken up by just the regular stuff that we have, which we have a lot of, and nothing against any of these businesses that we have, but we have a lot of drugstores, barbershops, and other things. And I think when they move, they tend to move when the value go up and other folks try to move into the area.
Yeah, we're close to kind of a self-sufficiency with the neighborhood. We're finding a balance. Again, the grocery store is a big step, where a lot of amenities that you'll find in other neighborhoods, you're going to find in our neighborhood, starting currently, but the grocery store adds to it, and then whatever next wave happens beyond that, on the retail front. We're going to have more options. Yesterday, I just, had just a long kind of history talk, of the neighborhood. I mean, going back to the 20s with Mr. Gates, and just how everything just kind of comes full circle. Back then, doctors and lawyers, used to live here. Madison was historically, it always was, a huge retail front. And then, after the riots, it got decimated. But since then, that's starting to heal, and it's coming across. And this is a good neighborhood to kind of see, those pieces come together.
Yeah, I know. I was over here when the riots. My mom was living on Jackson Street when that happened, and all my uncles used to have jobs on Madison Street, in all these little stores. There's a whole bunch of stores over here, from clothing stores to all types of things. And when after that riot, a lot of people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
It really was a backwards thing that happened at that time. But yeah, it's great to now see it come back, see these opportunities come back. A lot of people getting job opportunities. We're trying to prepare people for these jobs so they can take advantage of these opportunities. So I see a lot of other things happening. One of the funny things for me is I have Southside guys trying to talk to me about doing stuff over here, getting involved over here, and I'm like, look, this is for the people that live over here. You guys wasn't thinking about us, when before we started coming back up. Now everybody want to come over here and join with us. I'm like, no, this is we got to help the people in this area, and this is our turn, our opportunity to grow and prosper, and I think it's great, and I think. I know we still have some vacancies where the the mixed income transformation properties with Rockwell and also with Henry Horner. I think Henry Horner have one more plot to do. I think Henry Horner may be breaking ground with that this year. I think they may be working on that. And I think some things may be happening with Rockwell soon. We already voted on a plan for a plot over there. You know that plan. I think you all worked on it.
For Jefferson Square at West End.
Yeah, Brenshaw Michaels. Yeah, West End. Right.
The last that I heard was, and this is dated information, was they were in a wait to build the condo piece, the full sale, so they're going ahead with the rentals.
So that's the challenge. They think that, and this is, and we had this discussion because they both over there, Henry Horner, and they over here too. And the discussion is that they're concerned about building the condos because they don't think they will sell right now. Well, I'm telling you, condos are starting to sell now.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to change soon. And when both of those things happen, you're going to have more of a demographic over here.
Yeah.
You're going to have more people, and you're going to have different incomes coming to the community. So I think, if I was a business, if I was an investor, I'd start coming over here before it all happened, because it's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, and as the Jefferson Square at West End development is continued, and the quality of the buildings, you can see one by one, it's getting better every time. So now it's some really beautiful brick windows and brick and glass, kind of behind Western Avenue. They're starting to really build out some nice pieces that'll probably be circling around that new garden.
Right.
The new park.
The new park is going to be right by the new park. Yeah.
So it's going to be a nice little neighborhood group over there.
Yeah. So I think some great things are getting ready to happen. I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to continue to work with you and for you and your organization to make me abreast of all of the things that you all have been working on. You got to excuse me. I'm used to just jumping in and trying to make things happen. So if I move too fast, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll fit in really well.
Okay. All right. Well. So tell me, if someone wants to join the organization, the chamber, what should they do? Sure.
You can reach out to me. nearwestchamber.org is our website. The contact info is there, or you can call me directly, 312-738-2280.
And also, just before we go off, Mike, you all are a delegate agency.
Yes.
Right? So you work directly with the city in helping the businesses that are members of your organization.
Yes.
So you deal with some facades sometimes? You deal with facades?
We've had a lot of success sharing with people the SPIF program, particularly.
The SPIF program.
So Small Business Improvement Fund. We've had a couple members that,
And you're talking about getting them grant money.
Yes.
Right.
So we had we have a lot of examples, but one that stands out is Sinhas, Brazilian catering place that turned into a restaurant,
right,
using SPIF funding.
Great.
Yeah.
So you are a resource to businesses.
Yes.
So if they join your organization, it's to their benefit, and they have a direct line with me, which they have, but a direct line to the city departments, Department of Housing and Economic Development, Business Affairs, to make things happen and get them done quicker.
Yes.
And what businesses always say is time is money, right?
Yes.
So you can save them on that time.
And hopefully show them some money too, with these great grant programs that are out with the city.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, John, Mike, I want to thank you very much for coming on to the show. Thank you for coming to our new office, for being the one to help me start off the new year over here with Network 27. And appreciate everything you're doing, and look forward for our continued relationship.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor, and glad to welcome you to the neighborhood.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next month.